We often look to the past and see a world shrouded in mystery, a place where the lines between fact and fiction can easily blur. It's tempting to fill in the gaps with epic tales of alien architects, savage warriors, and primitive societies. But what if the truth, stripped of all the fantasy, is even more fascinating? What if the real stories of our ancestors reveal a level of ingenuity, complexity, and humanity that rivals our own? History wasn't written by aliens, but the truth is definitely cooler. Today, we're peeling back the layers of time to expose the ancient lies you might still believe. Prepare to have your view of the past completely reshaped. Myth number 1. The Great Pyramids were built by slaves. This image, popularized by Hollywood epics and ancient Greek accounts, paints a grim picture of countless souls toiling under the lash of a cruel pharaoh. It's a powerful and enduring narrative, but one that modern archaeology has systematically dismantled. Fact: the pyramids were constructed by a highly organized, well-fed and respected workforce of skilled Egyptian laborers. Excavations near the pyramids have uncovered entire cities built for these workers. They lived in organized communities, received medical care, evidenced by skeletons with healed bones, and were paid for their labor, not in coin, but in rations of bread, beer, and meat. These weren't slaves, they were proud craftsmen and engineers, participating in a national project of immense religious and cultural importance. Their tombs, found near the pharaoh's own, were a sign of great honor. Myth number 2. Ancient Romans wore togas all day, every day. We picture bustling Roman forums filled with citizens draped in flowing white cloth. The toga has become the quintessential symbol of Roman identity, the uniform of an empire. Fact: the toga was actually formal wear, and a cumbersome one at that. Think of it as the ancient equivalent of a tuxedo or a ball gown. It was heavy, difficult to wrap correctly, and restricted movement. For daily life, the vast majority of Romans, men, women, and children, wore a much more practical and comfortable garment, the tunic. Tunics were simple, versatile, and could be adapted for different weather and social classes. The toga was reserved for official ceremonies, public appearances by magistrates, and, to signify Roman citizenship on formal occasions. It was a status symbol, not everyday wear. Myth number 3. Vikings charged into battle wearing horned helmets. It's the most iconic piece of Viking imagery. The fierce Norse warrior, horns silhouetted against a burning village. This look is so ingrained in pop culture that it's hard to imagine a Viking without it. Fact: this is pure fantasy, invented for the stage. Archaeologists have excavated countless Viking graves and settlements, and not a single horned helmet from the Viking Age has ever been found. The helmets they did wear were typically simple, practical designs, conical or rounded caps made of leather or iron, designed to deflect blows, not to look intimidating with impractical horns that an enemy could easily grab in combat. The popular image comes from a 19th century costume designer for a production of Wagner's opera cycle, Der Ring des Nibelungen. The look was dramatic, memorable, and completely ahistorical. Myth number 4. Cleopatra's power came solely from her beauty. History and Hollywood have often portrayed the last pharaoh of Egypt as a seductive temptress who used her looks to manipulate powerful Roman men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Her story is reduced to one of romance and tragedy. Fact: while she was undoubtedly charismatic, Cleopatra's real power lay in her formidable intellect and political skill. She was a brilliant strategist, a capable administrator, and a gifted linguist who reportedly spoke as many as 9 languages, making her the first Ptolemaic ruler to actually speak Egyptian. She commanded armies, managed a complex economy, and navigated the treacherous politics of a declining Egypt and a rising Rome with incredible acumen. Her relationships with Caesar and Antony were strategic political alliances designed to protect her kingdom's sovereignty. Reducing her to a mere seductress is a profound disservice to one of history's most intelligent and powerful leaders. Myth number 5. The Dark Ages were 1,000 years of ignorance and stagnation. The very name suggests a period of intellectual darkness between the fall of Rome and the dawn of the Renaissance, where progress ground to a halt, cities crumbled, and knowledge was lost. Fact: the term Dark Ages is a deeply misleading oversimplification. While the early medieval period saw political fragmentation in Western Europe, it was also a time of immense innovation and cultural fusion. Monasteries became vital centers of learning, preserving classical texts that would have otherwise been lost. Incredible advancements were made in agriculture, like the heavy plow and crop rotation, which supported population growth. Universities were founded, magnificent cathedrals were engineered, and vibrant trade networks connected Europe with the Islamic world and Asia, fostering a constant exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. It wasn't dark, it was just different. Myth number 6. Gladiators always fought to the death. The cinematic vision is brutal. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. We imagine the Colosseum as a place of constant, state-sanctioned slaughter, where a thumbs down from the emperor always meant a sword to the throat. Fact: gladiator combat was a highly regulated and very expensive form of entertainment. Gladiators were valuable assets, representing a huge investment in training, feeding, and housing. They were the superstar athletes of their day. Killing them off recklessly made no financial sense. While the fights were real and dangerous, they were governed by strict rules and overseen by referees. Most bouts ended when one combatant was wounded or surrendered. The famous thumbs down gesture is also a misinterpretation. Its true meaning is still debated by historians, but it didn't automatically mean death. Many gladiators survived to fight another day, and some even earned their freedom and retired as celebrities. From the sands of Egypt to the heart of Rome, the stories we've been told are often just that: stories. The reality is a tapestry woven with skilled labor, practical fashion, intellectual brilliance, and surprising rules of engagement. But the misconceptions don't stop there. Let's continue our journey through history's greatest myths. Myth number 7. Everyone in the Middle Ages believed the Earth was flat. This is a classic tale used to paint our medieval ancestors as hopelessly superstitious and ignorant, a myth that claims Columbus was a lone genius battling a world of flat earthers to prove the globe. Fact: the idea of a spherical Earth has been common knowledge in educated circles since at least the 5th century BC in ancient Greece. Philosophers like Pythagoras and Aristotle provided observational proof, such as the changing position of stars as one travels north or south, and the Earth's curved shadow on the moon during an eclipse. This knowledge was never lost. Throughout the Middle Ages, scholars, theologians, and astronomers like Bede and Aquinas explicitly described a spherical Earth. The debate Columbus faced wasn't about the Earth's shape, but its size. His critics correctly argued that his calculation for the Earth's circumference was far too small, and that the journey to Asia would be much longer than he claimed. They were right. Myth number 8. Ninjas, the covert agents of feudal Japan, always wore black. The image is iconic: a silent assassin, clad head to toe in black, melting into the shadows to perform espionage or assassination. It's the uniform of the night. Fact: while stealth was their trade, pure black was rarely their color of choice. A solid black silhouette actually stands out against the deep indigo of a night sky. For nighttime infiltration, historical accounts suggest ninjas favored dark navy blue, gray, or even reddish-brown, to better blend with the natural darkness. More importantly, a ninja's greatest weapon was deception. Their most effective uniform was no uniform at all. They would disguise themselves as farmers, merchants, monks, or entertainers, allowing them to gather intelligence in plain sight without raising any suspicion. The all-black shinobi shozoku is largely a creation of Japanese kabuki theater, where stagehands dressed in black to signify invisibility to the audience. Myth number 9. Ancient people were primitive and unsophisticated. It's easy to look at the lack of modern technology and assume our ancestors lived simple, brutish lives, lacking the complex thought and engineering prowess we have today. Fact: ancient civilizations were masters of engineering, astronomy, and social organization. The Romans built over 50,000 miles of durable roads and aqueducts that supplied cities with fresh water, some of which are still in use. The ancient Greeks created the Antikythera mechanism, an astonishingly complex analog computer for tracking celestial bodies. In the Indus Valley, cities like Mohenjo-Daro had sophisticated grid-based street plans and the world's first known urban sanitation systems over 4,000 years ago. They mapped the stars, developed complex mathematics, and created profound works of philosophy and art. They weren't primitive. They were pioneers who laid the very foundations of our modern world. Myth number 10. Witches were burned at the stake in the Salem witch trials. The image of burning pyres is the most terrifying and enduring symbol of witch hunts, particularly the infamous trials in colonial Massachusetts. Fact: while burning at the stake was a horrific method of execution for heresy in Europe, it was not the method used in Salem. The legal system in the English colonies followed English law, which prescribed hanging as the punishment for witchcraft. During the Salem hysteria of 1692, 19 innocent people, 14 women and 5 men, were convicted and executed. All of them were taken to Gallows Hill and hanged. Another man, Giles Corey, was pressed to death with heavy stones for refusing to enter a plea. No one was burned at the stake in Salem. The confusion arises from conflating the American colonial experience with the larger, more varied European witch hunts. The past is not a simple story. It's a complex, nuanced, and often surprising place. By challenging these long-held myths, we don't diminish our ancestors. We do the opposite. We replace simplistic caricatures with portraits of real, intelligent, and resourceful people. We see the skilled engineer instead of the slave, the practical tunic instead of the toga, the brilliant strategist instead of the seductress. History is not about fantasy, it's about the genius of humanity.